Warning. This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all.
Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and I don't have a great deal to say today either, to be honest. I think I should stop saying that. So, subscribe if you want to follow along with the most repetitive and boring finance channel on the tube. As ever, there are no mid-roll ads on this channel, so you can enjoy your viewing uninterrupted. Now, today, I've got a few Bitcoin charts, a couple of stock market things, and then, as an exercise, I wanted to go through the charts as always and see what we can see. But then, this time, I want to flip it onto the weekly time frames and reassess those same charts on the weekly time frame. Because as we head into the weekly closes, I think what we're going to be able to see is across a bunch of these different markets, we've kind of got bearish looks on the daily, but extraordinarily bullish looks on the weekly. So I wanted to show you that here. First of all, this is still what I'm hoping for from Bitcoin here, that we've had this kind of fake breakdown, and then we're going to do this to a new high. That would be the yellow squiggle of mine. Okay, now of course there's still a risk that something like this happens to a lower high and we roll over and die. Head for that 4-year cycle, which, by the way, is sometime around here, okay, end of 2026, so not really out of the ordinary. But so far, so good, right? We are actually off to a reasonable start if something like this is potentially coming for Bitcoin. And do you remember that we've been talking about the tether dominance here, okay? Now should be the time that this thing rolls over. This should now move down practically in a straight line, uninterrupted, whilst Bitcoin moves practically straight up, uninterrupted. Otherwise, we have to entertain that this indeed was the top. So super interesting times as we head into the end of this year and perhaps early next year. There's still a whole heap of weird stuff happening beneath the surface in the crypto space. Like the United States just ended offshore crypto. So the CFTC has authorized spot Bitcoin and cryptocurrency trading on federally regulated exchanges for the first time in American history. Remember, the CFTC is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which is an independent agency that regulates US derivative markets, including futures, swaps, and certain kind of options. So this is a big deal. They're about to put Bitcoin and cryptocurrency trading on the same platform as the commodity derivatives. So this is a big deal, right? This is not nothing. This is now moving Bitcoin and crypto from needing to use an exchange like Binance, which, as we all know, are sometimes susceptible to some games and chicanery, over to the more mainstream type of deal, which, let's be honest, are also still subject to some games and chicanery. But the point I'm trying to make here is this is the maturation of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency onto the main stage and as a mainstream asset class. Keep in mind, for 15 years, the agency refused to provide regulatory clarity. Americans were forced offshore. They traded on platforms with no customer protections. We've seen things like FTX collapse, obviously the whole Binance thing, 10/10 of this year. Billions vanished, retail investors were decimated. That era is over. Allegedly. This is his words, not mine. I always forget which metal it is, but it was nickel. So when I say things like allegedly the games will end, or allegedly there'll be more protection for the retail trader, there was this thing that happened with nickel where nickel spiked. It blew out a bunch of shorts and completely destroyed a bunch of institutional traders. And the brokers, instead of pay out a bunch of retail traders record payday sums for being long right into one of the biggest short squeezes of all time for nickel, instead they just reset the price and called it a data error, and they didn't pay out any of the retail accounts. Okay, they just kind of wound the clock back and said, whoa, 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 we can't have retail making all the money and blowing out the institutional shorts, right? We must call this a data error. So you can go and look into that in your own time if you want, but I'm just trying to say the era of games and chicanery, okay, is never going to be over. But it is still a pretty big deal because the structural implications are staggering, right? Cross margin between spot and derivatives could compress capital requirements by 30 to 50%. Institutional barriers dissolve overnight. Pension funds, banks, sovereign wealth funds all have compliant access to spot crypto platforms that have operated as the gold standard for nearly a century. Okay, so it is a big deal. It will open the floodgates for a whole heap of exposure in practically every account in every country all around the world. So congratulations to Bitcoin, I guess, which has officially become a commodity now. Over in the world of stocks, corporate insiders have been stacking consumer staples. Okay, look at this for the buy-sell ratio, spiking at the hard right edge. So the big question is, what is it that consumer staples insiders see? They are starting to position themselves defensively, all at a time, I might add, when a lot of the market is starting to move the goalpost and shift towards no more recession or re-acceleration in the economy or whatever the narrative is. Okay, it's pretty interesting. The people on the inside that can see the numbers, that can see how the consumer is behaving, are deciding they want to position in what is typically or traditionally a defensive asset class. And sentiment is improving. For the first time in 44 weeks, bears fell below 31% here, and this is post-bear market behavior. The SPX was higher 1 year on average, 23%. We got extraordinarily one-sided here, despite the stock market looking like this, okay, and despite a very, very shallow pullback. It's been a very, very strange time to have such unprecedented bullish action in the stock market, whilst also having such bearish sentiment and so many people doubting and fearing the current rally. So what I want to do now is run through a few charts, first on the daily time frame and then on the weekly. So first of all, the Dixie failed the daily cycle, doesn't it? We knew that was going to happen. Indicator picked the low, we got the left translation, we've now failed, okay, and we're on our way down. So happy days there, no problem at all. Stocks are kind of hanging around up here. I don't much like this look. Normally when you get this kind of look, it has a quick rollover and then goes. So I'm open to that next week. Gold as well, still kind of creeping higher, absent of a cycle low, so a quick puke would not surprise me at all. And the same is true of silver, right? It looks like it's setting up either a bull flag or a quick dip and then go. And then of course Bitcoin gradually working its way up here, okay, isn't it? So we'll see. It looks quite three-wave corrective at the moment, doesn't it? It looks more like an ABC back, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But the low is the low, and for now, it remains untouched. So as you can see, it's not looking super strong here, is it? Not on the daily time frames, at least. But if I now run through the same charts on the weekly time frame, things look a lot better with a bit more zooming out, okay, and a bit more bigger picture outlook. Here's the Dixie again. Okay, this looks to me a lot more bearish, a lot more like it's getting ready for a big red candle down here, doesn't it? The stock market again looks like it's left behind this swing low pattern, okay, right in the timing window, kind of similar to back here or back here. And again, if we can just push up a little bit higher today to close out a big green weekly candle here, then this will be an extraordinarily bullish look on the weekly time frame, won't it? Especially with the Brexit getting ready to cross down the bottom. Gold looking a little less bullish in my opinion, but has still left behind a swing and is still pushing up for now at least. Silver, again, look at this on the weekly time frame. Hard to be looking at this on the weekly time frame and being bearish, right? It's kind of strange that a lot of these daily charts look a little heavy and like they're getting ready to roll over into next week, but the weekly time frame charts look extraordinarily bullish across the board. The same is true of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's daily chart looks a bit jank, looks a bit scary in a way, right? Almost looks like it wants to sweep its low. But then you go onto the weekly time frame and we are getting extraordinarily close to a cross here. We have left behind the makings of a swing low pattern almost, and we're extremely close to getting a trendline breakout, which actually opens up this. Doesn't look that impossible. Okay, it looks actually very similar to this that couples with this. Bottoms are a process and sometimes they take longer than expected. As I was saying yesterday, I do want people to manage expectations, okay, because whilst it would be nice to have a lockout rally and not look back here, it's not the only path higher. There are plenty of other paths as well. So do manage your expectations. Yes, I'm still hoping for something like this. And on the weekly time frame, again, I don't think it looks too bad here, right? I think it looks pretty good. But across the board, the weekly closes will be important this week, okay? If we can just close a little bit higher, that cements all of these bullish setups on the weekly time frame, which means we can look out a few weeks into the future with positive and bullish expectations, looking for that year-end rally and the Santa rally. And if today happens to be a bloodbath, okay, then we are going to sour this a little bit, but it's okay because we'll head into next week as always with that one day at a time approach. So do hit the subscribe button if you're not already. Please do come back and check out the weekend's deep dive tomorrow. And other than that, have a fantastic weekend. All the best from me. Take care. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel Finance got the markets key, taking a stormy